have a woman who saved Kameza money. I remember that time her plot was at 7 million. She said, I didn't have a job, but I could save
the Kameza
money every day.
Until she got a plot.
Until she got a plot. You're not just giving people a piece of land. You're part of their history. Like you're part generations to come, even though this title changes name, that person will know my first plot I got from my fabulous homes. We have helped over 2,500 people to get land. It's amazing because when I was starting out, this is not what I thought it was going to be.
In this episode, we speak with Immaculate Nantongo, the founder and CEO of Uganda's largest online real estate forum. As the chief executive of the Fabulous and Beautiful Homes group on Facebook, Immaculate has helped over 2,000 people in Uganda become landlords, 70% of whom are women. Join us as Immaculate shares her insights on property acquisition and construction, how she turns people's dreams into reality, and how you too can become a landlord with her support.
So you have a construction wing or
yes, we
department,
have
I would say.
Yes.
Then you have the one for the hardware as well. Then you have the land acquisition as well. I saw you also did some interior design.
Yes, I was going to say
this is your passion, eh?
Several times we have had people who have tried to scam us. But because as a company, we have a checklist. We were brought up, profit was important.
Welcome to yet another exciting episode of CEO Insights. On here, we talk to CEOs, corporate leaders, and other key people of influence. If you'd like to be on the show or know someone who should be, please get in touch with us. If you haven't yet subscribed, please consider doing so right now. When you subscribe, you enable us to continue growing, which in turn enables us to continue attracting these intriguing guests. Please remember to leave a comment below and tell us about your experience watching the show. Thank you, and let's get on with the show. When you look back at your own career and where you are right now, what would you say got you started in this industry?
Personally, I have a story to tell of why I started the business that I am currently doing. But there was a need, especially for women, to own property. Like there are so many women, hardworking middle-class women or women who had finished school and they wanted to own property, but they didn't have the full sum of the money. So I remember I have a group called Fabulous Beautiful Homes. So we share construction, real estate, ideas. So majority of the people wanted to like own property, but they didn't know how. They're like, we want, but our salaries, we don't have the full amount of the places we want to stay in. So over and over, I saw that comment where people were asking, how do we do it? And I think in 2018, going on to 2019, December, it was like an epiphany. Like I said, why don't I start a savings group and we can save together, collect money, buy a piece of land, and then we divide and develop that estate and call it a gated community. So for an everyday Ugandan. So because personally, I believe when you do things together, you can accomplish so much together.
So from looking at the comments on it's a Facebook Facebook group.
Yes, a Facebook platform.
So from looking at the comments of what the people were saying, you saw the need.
Yes, I saw there was a need to help people or people in that kind of category, mainly women, but also men. So I don't want to say that we are only helping women. No, we have men, but in our country, acquiring large sums of money it's very hard for most people. So knowing that we could save daily, monthly, weekly, and at the end of the year, we can buy that portion of land and subdivide, and it would be much, much cheaper. And then we organize it the way we want it to be. So it's from there, the comments, that I saw an opportunity to grow and establish that.
Are you seeing other comments which might lead to a new opportunity for someone else?
Yeah, for someone else or for us?
Or even for you?
Yes, like right now, people got land. We have helped over 2,500 people to get land in the 6 years. Actually, let's call it 5 years because we're in our 6th year of operation. So now people are saying, we launched our building scheme recently because there was now a need. Now, you've gotten us the land. What next? Now we want to build. So that's the new product that we're working on. So basically, it is from the comments of our platform that we see the needs that people are having, and we try to solve those needs.
So what is the plan? What are you actually planning on that building scheme? What, if you can get into it?
Actually, our vision as Fabulous Beautiful Homes is to build gated communities for an everyday Ugandan. That's the grand scheme of things. But this starts with the acquisition of land. You cannot talk about a gated community without land. So we start with getting land, and when we get land, we subdivide. Even in our land, in the areas we get in our different estates we have acquired, we portion land for recreation, for commercial, where some people are buying plots specifically for like putting up a school, a shop, a supermarket, things like that. Then other people we designate places of like we have the flat section where we're going to only build flats, storied building, and we'll have the bungalow section where we're only building. So basically, we are trying to say that even if you're a low-income earner, I prefer to use the word an everyday Ugandan, you can live in a well-organized community. What we have, what other people have done before, yes, they have created estates, but they are not planned. You will find that someone has a bar next to a residential house, and that bar is allowed to operate up to morning, or a church. So it's allowed to operate. So this person, because they have their plot, they feel like they can use it for anything. In the grand scheme of things, that community is not going to be organized because there's a bar here, there's a school, there's a house, there's a lodge. So in our estates, we try to say, okay, we want organized living for everyday Ugandan, no matter your finances. So we are starting with acquisition of land. After land has been acquired, now we are going into the building stages. In the building stages, actually, for people who saved with us, we provide plans. They can change them to their satisfaction, or it can be what they use. We have building plans, already architectural plans, and they can use them for building. So our project is not just for now, it's like 5 years from now. That's when everything will come into fruition. Because as I've told you, we are dealing with an everyday Ugandan.
True.
An everyday Ugandan will take like 3 years to build a house and enter. That's a survey we made on our group. Like majority, 3 to 5 years. So we're thinking in 5 years, our estates will be, people would have put up their houses, because even the building project, they are going to build in stages.
True.
There are people who don't have all the money at once. They don't have 100 million. They don't have 50 million, but they are willing to sacrifice each year and say, we have built up to foundation, window level, ring beam, things like that. So that's what we are concentrating on.
These 2,500 people that you mentioned, if you were to look at the demographics, percentage-wise, roughly, what would you say men versus women? 70%
women. Yes. Yeah, 70% women. We have more women in the scheme than men.
Really?
But I am so happy with women right now that previously women felt like it's the man's responsibility to buy land and to build a house. Now women feel empowered enough to own property in their names. So I like the new movement. It's not against marriage, it's not against family, but when a woman is empowered, the whole family is empowered. I see women who save and bring their husbands to possession, and their husbands are wowed. That's this woman, she saved. There have been so many interesting stories that I've enjoyed. We have a woman who saved Kameza money. I remember that time her plot was at 7 million. She said, I didn't have a job, but I could save
the Kameza
money every day.
Until she got a plot?
Until she got a plot.
Wow.
And she brought the husband.
Wow.
To see the plot, like, yes, I was saving. So seeing that now women are not just using their money to eat and spend and do most expensive hairstyle. It's a very beautiful thing to see how the movement of the girl child has come from long ago and where it is right now.
When you see the comments in the chat group or on your Facebook page, and you see the feedback, or when you're handing over titles to these people, because I've seen your, I'll call it marketing, but I've seen you handing over titles to hundreds, thousands of people, like you're mentioning. There's always a celebration and all this. How does that make you feel?
I think with the kind of work I do, it's I would like to point out it's more of a male-dominated industry.
Of course.
So because it's a male-dominated industry now, coming in as a woman, there are so many hurdles you face. But my highlight of each year is the face I see on people when you hand them their titles.
True.
People cry. There are people who wail. And they're like, I would never have thought I would own a title in my name. Now I have title. And for me, that gives me the most satisfaction, because the work we put in is a lot. There are a lot of challenges in the industry. But seeing people say, I would never have gotten a piece of land. There's a gentleman who actually, when he got his piece of land, we were showing him, he said, now, even though I die, I am sure my kids will have someone. And he lied down on the
ground. Celebration.
Yes. So it is those things where someone says, he was like, I'm from Mbarara. I never thought I would, from Busheni. I never thought I would own a piece of Kampala, the central region. But I have a title. He lied down on the ground. We have people who come and celebrate with wine and cake and cut cake on their plots. So it's really interesting.
Like a picnic.
Yes, people come and they are like real hanging out. So seeing that I've been part of making someone's dream come true, honestly, it's the most, that's my most joyous moment, seeing that at first you think like, okay, I'm helping just people to get land, but then you see what they tell you, what it means. Some people, maybe they try to buy land. When I usually ask them, when I get to interact with people, I ask them their story to know briefly about them, and someone tells you, I bought land, I was conned, but now this is my real land. I was conned, I didn't get a title. Someone said, I've had land of Ndagano, but now I have a title with a title. I can go and get a loan. I can show proof of ties home. So you see, like, you're not just giving people a piece of land. You're part of their history. Like, you're part, generations to come, even though this title changes name, that person will know, my first plot I got through my fabulous homes. And then their children also. So it's more of a more satisfying thing knowing that I am part of someone's journey into home ownership.
Let me take you back to the beginning. I know you have the Facebook group.
Yeah.
And I know from the comments you saw this need and worked on it. And congratulations, I'm very happy for you.
Thank
and
you.
Also very proud of you as well. And you said it is male-dominated, it is true. So to see a lady shining, there are many positives on that. So congratulations on that. Going back though, what led you to start the group on Facebook? It's a land-related thing, but what led you to start that one? Okay,
when I was building my house at that time, on Facebook, at that time, Uganda, there were so many other platforms that were catering for mothers, wives, even other just social platforms. But there was no platform that catered for people who are building. And you know, in Uganda, building is a lonely journey when you're building, the challenges you're facing. So at that time I was building, and I just felt like I wish there was a platform where people share about their marriages here and there, but I wish there was a platform where people could share ideas on construction, their journeys, their stories, encouraging each other. So at that time I toiled with the idea. I'm a Christian. I don't know if I should talk about that.
That's fine.
But I remember I was telling the Holy Spirit, I was telling in my meditation, and it's like, make a group, call it My Fab Home. I was like, no, I want to just join an already existing one. Like, I'm not ready to be an admin and things like that. But eventually I joined. So when I created that group, it was like what people needed at the time. Because there are so many people who were building and they were sharing their stories. When we started, actually in like the first month, we were at 30,000 members.
Wow.
Yeah, and people were sharing. Like, me, I'm doing this, so someone is looking for an architect, someone is looking for an engineer, or just wanting to hear someone's experience in what they're building. So it's from that's what made me from the group. Basically, to share my journey as I was building and also get my cup filled by other people going through the same.
And it turned out that, in fact, this is what was needed on the ground.
Yes, that is what, it's amazing because when I was starting out, this is not what I thought it was meant to be.
Of course.
Yeah, so it has been evolving.
Let me ask you, you said this is the 6th year is this your 6th, I would call it estate. Is it like your 6th estate? You do an estate a year? Or
No.
How do you do this?
This is a 6th phase, like a cohort.
Yes.
Yeah, like each year we have different people who are subscribing to get land and create. I think in the first year we had 2 estates. The first cohort, we had 2 areas. Then the second year we had 4. Then the third year 6. The fourth year I think there were 8 estates.
Wow.
Now this one I think there are 7, and then so basically each year, because the numbers keep increasing and like that, so we keep having different areas that we are buying land for people from.
So I have many questions related to this.
No, it's okay.
The first question is, how do you select a place? What are you thinking about when you say, for maybe the 7th cohort, I'm going to go in this area and we're going to look for place here? First of all, what area, how do you select the area? What sizes are you looking for? If you don't get the sizes, describe you've landed in the area and you're looking for the land. Tell me the story.
Okay. So remember I was telling you that we're looking at, it's important to note that, as I was telling you, our dream is to help Ugandans, everyday Ugandans, live in well-organized planned communities. Now, for these planned communities, because land in Kampala is already full, as you all know, so we go out of Kampala and look for land, virgin land, to create this that we want to see. Because people are looking at places like Kololo, Lovoa, Arkwright, but at one point also those places were a bit far off. So we don't charge a lot of money from our clients because they can't afford in the first place. So we look for land outside of the city to create these communities. Now, remember that platform I told you on Facebook? That is, I think, in any industry, maybe I'll speak for myself. It's like I have a sample group to ask every time.
Yes, a focus group, which is very active.
So it helps me to see which areas are people looking at. I remember when we were buying for phase 1 land, people were telling me, go to Kasanje, we need to buy land in Kasanje. I had never heard of that place, what Kasanje is. So people were like pushing me. I was like, that year I went there, COVID came. We didn't buy. I was like, no, that place is far. That place is far. We cannot. Second group, people were insisting, buy Kasanje. The members themselves, we should buy Kasanje. Kasanje was outside of the radius we had promised them, but people were insisting. We ran a poll on that cohort. They wanted Kasanje. I went on the Facebook group. I asked them, someone tell me about Kasanje. People share ideas, what the government is planning, what they are doing, what. So we went and bought Kasanje. And so each scheme, each cohort, we can have like 4 different areas. We look at major roads in Kampala. So we got Kasanje, we have Mukono Road, people who are coming from the east. Then we look at Hoima Road, then Bombo Road. So we give like 4 options to people to choose from. At the end of the day, if we buy 4 different areas, members can choose from those ones. Yeah.
Do you have a limit on the size of the land that you're going to buy? If you have maybe 300 people sign up, are you going to buy 300 plots, or are you going to buy whatever you're looking for, like a target size? And
Okay. When we are buying, we can have 300 people, let me say 400 people, but they will need maybe 700 plots. So you have 300 people, but the plots are more. So we look at the number of plots that are needed in each year. So we are going to buy land to fit these people. However, it doesn't matter the number of people. The plots have to fit in. Yeah.
So if a person, I'm sorry for cutting you short, someone comes, says, I want 50 by 100. Another one comes, says, I want 3 50 by 100.
Yeah.
So those are 4 plots.
Yes.
So you're going to look for an area that has those 4 plots.
No. Okay. We buy a chunk of land. I think I had not emphasized that.
No, yes.
Okay, so when we talk about creating this well-organized living, we buy chunks of land and then subdivide them into plots and then plan the usage of the plot and then present them to our members, where then our members can choose. All our plots are standard size, like 11.5 decimals, equivalent of a 50 by 100 plot. So we make our plots 50 by 100, but a person can own more than 1 plot. They can choose to have 2. We have people who have bought 10.
Wow.
Yeah, we have someone who has bought 1. So it doesn't matter, it's still a standard plot. So you can choose to have them, if we are having, let me say 5 estates that year, you can choose to spread them out, or you can choose to have them together, depending on what you want to use your land for.
Let me see if I get the process correct. Let's say we are planning for the next cohort, the 7th one, okay? You go in the group and you ask the people, which location do you think we should get? And they say, this is the location. Then you go on the ground, you scout for a chunk of land. Meanwhile, you're running a list of people who are interested. And you have your 300 people and you see the number of plots that they want. You go on the chunk of land that you got, break it up, offer it, people start paying.
No. Okay, yeah. Now I get your question. Ours, it's we first save.
Okay.
It's different from what a traditional real estate company does. What you're describing is what most people do. But for us, we save with the intention of buying land and having those. So I sell them the idea. So it was the idea that I had that, how about if we come together, save money, and then buy. So it is after 6 months of saving, that's when we see, okay, there are people who are dropped off, there are others who are still on. Then we see this is the number we have remained with. So we look at different roads.
Okay.
The beauty of having the sample group, which is our Facebook platform, is because that it helps us to know which roads that are people typically interested in. Even right now as I speak, even for the 7, like the areas don't change a lot. People want to stay in the central region. People want to stay as nearer to Kampala as possible. So the areas don't typically change. What changes is the pricing. Yeah, what changes is the pricing. But the areas are the same. People who like Mukono Road will go for Mukono Road. People who like Masaka Road will choose Masaka Road. So basically, we save for 1 year. The scheme runs for 1 year. We save at the end of the 1 year. We buy the land. When we buy the land, we buy land on different roads, because by now, through our experience, we know the major roads that people like. Even for next year, we know that roads won't change. They're the same. The roads in and out of the city, Hoima Road, Gaza Road, They're the same. So because of that, and then after buying, then we subdivide the plots, we demarcate, put in the roads, slash, clear, create titles, and then we take our members to see the different areas that we have bought. So after members have seen what the different areas, then they come back now to do the selection. Now that's where individual preferences come in, and I say me, Immaculate, I like Mukono, I'll choose Mukono because of my personal reasons. Then you, Herbert, you can say I choose Masaka Road because of your personal reasons. So each person chooses where they want to be. You might not get your exact, maybe one, of course, like any other business or anything else, one area could be popular more than others. But the reason, that's why we have a variety. We give you like 5. If you don't get your first choice, at least you'll get your second choice. Yeah.
Do you find that, okay, from the description that you have, the cohorts are increasing every year. So that tells me people like what they're getting and they see the positive sides of it, etc. For you, when you're running the business, do you feel like pressure is mounting each time that you're getting to a new cohort? Are you concerned about this? What do you feel?
I think now I'm more confident in what I am doing than I was. The challenges are there, but most challenges happened in year 1 and year 2 as a business. Those were our most trying years. But 3, 4, 5, 6, we are good to go. I feel like we have a grip on the hang of things, only that now, as I've told you, we are now expanding. This is our way of expansion, actually. We were targeting the central region, but we got people from our platform. I told you, I am so grateful to God for the platform that you hear people what they want. Now we're moving into Mbarara and Jinja, the east.
They want to go there.
Yeah, people from that side are like, why don't you come this side? So this year we launched the Jinja scheme and the Mbarara scheme.
Wow.
Yeah. So now the only challenge is, because I'm from the central, the land tenure system I fully understand in the central.
Yes, it's different.
Yeah. So the other side is different. So maybe that's why I can say the pressure is as a business, because now you're going into territories you haven't been before. But we have done our research. We have people on ground and everything. So I believe even in that new ventures we are right now doing, like Mbarara and Jinja, I am confident that we shall pull it off still. Yeah. On the side of the company, we have a bigger team than when we started out. We have a huge team. We have field managers. We have people who are assigned to looking for land, because now, previously in the beginning, I had to be going, but we have like 4 field managers. Then we have brokers. We have created a network of brokers in different areas. So these field managers are the ones who go and look for land. We have a team of surveyors. We have engineers now that we're doing even construction. We have architects who draw up the plan. So on the side of the technical part, that is sorted. Then also, because the numbers are many, also the support staff, the reconciliation staff. In the beginning, we were maybe 3 or 4. Now it's a big team. There are departments that have been created: reconciliation, accounts, and finance. Now I don't look into the details of that. We have a team which handles that. So when looking at being efficient, I am very positive that we are efficient.
So a person who wants to come on to the next scheme should not be worried that their thing will fall through the cracks somewhere.
No, we as a company CEO, after the 3rd year, going into the 4th year, as deliberate with building structures.
Right.
And it's important because from there we walked away from being Immaculate, the company, to my farm home being the company. Now, I did a test. I was out of the country for 2 months. For 2 months, and no one even did know that I was not around.
I've never known myself.
Yes, no one knew. Like everything was running smoothly. So we moved from being that Immaculate does everything. Immaculate does this. We have operations manager, we have directors who are doing everything. Now for me, my role actually is to see new opportunities that were supposed to come up. Strategize, get new clients. How do we get more business? How do we expand this? How do we grow? That is my concentration. But the people who do the daily runnings of the company smoothly, even when I'm not there. So structures have been very important. When we were starting out to create structures, there was some resistance from people maybe who knew me. And they were like, no, you don't need to do this. You don't have to trust this person. But because I look at this bigger than me, I look at this, one day my children will take over. We're not looking at just being in Uganda. No, I get calls from my friends in Kenya like, we need something in Kenya like this. Like this. So I believe we are going international. So recently, when I went out scouting for people abroad to join our team, I also saw there are possibilities of things we can do there. So I am big on structures now. The process from being a small company to transitioning to being where I want to be, there was pain. That's why I told you first 2 years were painful. Third year was transition. Fourth, fifth, we have a handle on things, on how we are running the business. Yeah.
Speaking about strategy and risk mitigation, as a CEO, this is truly the two top things that a CEO focuses on: is strategy and risk mitigation. So I don't know if you remember, but there used to be a company. What you're doing is not new. People have done it before you.
Yeah.
And there is a particular company that comes to light. It was called Property Masters. I think the MD or the CEO was called Kasulu or something like that. And Property Masters was a middleman between buyers and sellers. And they had lots and lots and lots of property, access to this property all over the country, everywhere. I remember at the peak of this company, they would take out adverts in the New Vision. They would have 15 to 20 pages of just adverts of the properties that they are selling, right? The office was at Serena, I think. And the CEO said that if a border man brings you to the office, you don't have to pay for transport. We will pay for your transport, right? Basically, he was too big.
Yeah.
He was too big. I think that the company grew much faster and much bigger than him, and he could not handle it very well. This is what I think. But that is the example that, came, was big, and fell. There are others which have come. You've seen the stories on your group. People complain all the time about buying land from particular companies, and they don't get their titles, or it's been years they never got their titles, and all that. From what you're describing, the growth that you've described, do you feel, or should I be concerned as a buyer or anyone looking at this, that a time will come when you will start giving way at the seams and taking the path of those who came before you? Or what, like you like structures and systems, what have you put in place to guard against that when the time comes and the company has really grown big, it's an adult, how will you manage it?
Okay. First of all, it all comes down to what we are as a business. Whereas the other one is also a real estate company. For us, we are not, as telling you, we're not the typical real estate company. Most real estate companies, they buy land, they get the owner, buy land, or pay a portion of the money, and then advertise.
True.
With the hope that people are going to buy, and it's from the money that people are going to buy, they'll use to pay the owners, their balance. So how that affects, in case people don't buy, that means they are not able to fully settle the person, the vendor, the person who sold to them. So how are we different? Remember when I told you, when we are buying land, we use the savings that have been bought to buy land. So it is the very money that we have saved. So when we are paying someone, I'm going to pay them like 100% of their money. And it's the very money that is saved that we use to buy the land. Those other companies, what they used to do, they would see a village, let me say a village, and buy like 100 acres. When they buy the 100 acres, it has quarters. And they tell the person who is the vendor, the title, me, I'll talk to the squatters. So sometimes some squatters allow, sometimes they don't allow. Sometimes the process takes longer than they had anticipated. So that is what caused some companies to have issues. For us, we buy squatter-free land. When we are buying a piece of land, we have to do all the due diligence to make sure that it has no squatters, not in a wetland. It's not. We don't buy 20 acres. We buy 15 in an area. That's why we are able to buy 15 here, 10 here, 7 here. Manageable pieces of land. So that way we are sure that there are no squatters. In fact, that's what is one of our selling points. When we are getting land, we make sure that there are no issues. And even if any issues arise thereafter, my fabulous, beautiful homes will stand in and settle whatever grievances on behalf of the people. So it's not like we are selling to you land and that's it. Remember, the vision is gated communities, well-planned communities. So it doesn't stop with the buying of land. So that is how one of the key distinctions that makes us different from other real estate companies. Call it
crowdsourcing, crowdfunding?
Yes, call it that. Because we use your very money to buy the land. So
basically what you're saying, by the time, because I've seen your adverts about saving schemes. And for me, I would think, well, I'm not going to, give my money to save. I will buy something that is ready. But what I'm hearing is, by the time I'm thinking to come and buy, it's already gone. It's already gone.
Actually, by the time I advertise, what you would think is advertising, it's already property that has been taken. People are taking possession. So you just get ready for the next one. Or you buy from the people who are selling, because of course there are people who would resell. But for us as my fab home, no.
For people who want to buy into this scheme, I've seen that, like you mentioned, the cost of land progressively increases, and it used to be, 3 or 5 million or something. Now I see 7, 10, maybe even more, I'm not sure. How do you determine this transition, the progression of this pricing? How do you determine this?
Okay, when we started at 3 million. Why? I told you, we look at the people we are servicing. Our clientele cannot afford 100 million. Our clientele doesn't have that money. Remember, I told you they are everyday Ugandans. People who finish school, they earn maybe 2 million and they don't have. So we started with 3 million. The money we collect, we make sure that we shall give you land within that budget, but slightly at a higher price. For example, when we bought land of 3 million, the area price was at 5 million. So already, because you're buying as a group, you're getting at a lower price than the market value. So determining how much money we are going to save, is dependent on the people, and say, okay, this year, let's save this much. This is what people they can afford. And then we shall go out and look for money within that budget. Because if I tell you that we have had instances where people were like saving 9 million last year and they wanted land in Chira, but Chira is 100 million plus. So we make sure that even when we're telling our people, we are not we are not offering miracles in what we are doing, but we give you value for money. If you're buying land at 9 million, area price should be at maybe 12.
So what you're saying, if the property going rate in the region is 12 million, because you're buying very many plots for a huge chunk of land, you can negotiate lower, so that by the time the person buys, they already have value in that property.
By the time you buy, you have value. And also this money that you collect, it does a lot of things, because we're not just buying land. We clear, we grade, we create titles.
I've seen that, yes.
Yeah. So that money, we create roads. When we buy land, in most cases, it's there is no settlement. So we have to clear the ground. We have to create roads. We have to do surveying. We have to do subdivisions. So at the end of the day, actually, you're going to see the actual price of the land. If we saved 9 million, because last year I was making a breakdown for people. If you saved 9 million, you would have bought at like 5. That's the value of land in itself, because how much are you going to pay a surveyor if you're going to do surveying and then boundary opening and then subdivision? All that money is there. If you're going to pay an architect to plan the estate, how much? If you're going to put graders to clear the pieces of land, if you're going to, even grading, there are different kinds of graders that you have to bring. So at the end of the day, you'll see that the land itself is the cost of the land is small compared to the other works that have to go in. Because even when you buy land independently, you still have to subdivide. If it's a big chunk to cut yourself off, you have to hire a surveyor. You're going to spend like 1.5 million. So if you're saving 9 million, the 1.5 is already accounted for off that. Then if you're to bring a grader, one day they'll charge you 1 million minus fuel. Then you have to put in fuel. So 1.5 already, that's...
And then it breaks down.
Yes, and then that's already off. That's already 3 million. You've not accounted for the brokers, because still, these brokers, some are on retainer, because you can't be... I personally, or mine, even when we have 4 field officers, they can't know everything. In this business, you have to know someone who knows someone who knows someone. So that there is a whole team. So some of them are on retainer. Even those who are not on retainer, when we buy a piece of land, you have to give them their commission, because they're helping you to get the property that you need. Yeah, so it's a whole process on how we come to the estate.
When you're acquiring these lands, these vast chunks of lands, what kind of challenges do you typically face? Maybe from the sellers of the land, or maybe from the customers who are trying to buy from you, that you can share with us here?
Okay, remember when I told you that most of our challenges came in year 1 and year 2. And our mode of business at that time, we would save for money, specifically for land. And then after we have bought the land, we save an additional amount for the grading and titling. So basically the first money was just for land. That was the 3 million and 5 million thereafter. So we save, buy the land. After the land has been bought, then we say, okay, how much do we need for surveying, for titles? How much will it cost us? And then we save again. So remember, you've saved for 1 full year, and then also at that time, we would save and then buy land. So land in the first 2 years was bought at the end of the saving period. Then we say, March was our last month of saving, then we start to look for land. And even after we look for land, which can take you 2 months or 3 months, and then you have to do additional saving, which you would find like the saving period would go up to maybe 6 months after the scheme has ended. So what that did to us, you buy a piece of land, you pay for it. Then you have to first save to create the title, the money. You save, they show you the land, but because you don't have the money for grading, the person has already sold to you. So you don't grade. people broke things there. So by the time we came to grade, we would find now challenges of people who have come, and you have to compensate them. But you bought the land, they didn't have issues. Actually, there's a particular gentleman, like all the challenges that I've had were from that one person. Yes, but they taught me also not to trust people, because he sold to us the first piece of land in the first cohort. So we said, oh, he's a very nice person.
Let's buy from him again.
Then we buy from him in the second one. Both, there were issues that came up. And those are the challenges that I had. So one challenge, don't trust people. Like each cell, treat it as an independent cell. Just because you bought from someone a previous piece, it doesn't mean that he won't play you on the second piece of land. So that is a challenge. After the first one, we bought from him a second piece of land. Now, these two, as I was telling you, because we were saving at the same time, at some point, phase one was saving and also phase two was saving. So they got their land because of COVID around the same period. By the time we reach younger, people have planted. The whole of COVID, they have planted in your land. Now you have to go back into compensations and what. And that's what I told you, as my farm home, these challenges, when they come up, we handle them internally as a company. We don't come back to you and tell you, oh, now pay additional.
I've never heard of this, and I'm sure it would have been there in the comments.
Actually, we don't discuss it with you.
It would have been there, and if those issues had come out, I almost think that the whole scheme would have ended there, because people are not, especially the one who is saving at that level that you're mentioning, saving over a year, they would really have an issue with trust if they hear those things coming up from the field.
Yeah, so at that time, actually, I told the members at that time, because the period was taking long. Now what we do, as I told you, the challenges were in year 1 and 2. Like any business, the challenges that are going to come. So we learned from that. From year 3, the money we collect includes everything. The grading, the surveying, you don't pay additional money. What, except to transfer into your names. What that does, once we buy land, we clear.
Immediately.
Yes.
And that's why the price is slightly higher.
That's why it's slightly higher than before, because we are trying to avoid this gap between the challenges we faced when people planted on our land when we were not there, and that gentleman that I mentioned who was funny towards us. So it's from those things. All I would say the challenges I had were concerning that, but it was a growth process. Yeah.
Have banks or other institutions come to you offering like lump sum loans for you to purchase, to capital infusion?
Yes. We have partners. In fact, we have a product coming up with 2 top banks that have been our bankers in relation to the building scheme. But we did not need funding.
Of course.
As a company, as I told you, if we take money for funding, it would change our mode of business, how we operate. And that's not how we operate. That's not the core of who we are. So at that time, we did not take. Yes, they came up until we developed a product that I'll introduce later on in the year, towards the beginning of the year.
You're not introducing now?
No, but it's because we are finalizing. Yeah, but until then, it's about the building phase, because as I was telling you, people are struggling with building. Now they have plots. Now, in fact, for the longest time, I was like, I had sleepless nights. Okay, I've gotten for you the plots. We say we're going to do planned living and what? What next after? So until...
and the saving money for the building is not the one for
it's
the
not
plot.
the one for the plot, yes.
It is significantly higher.
Yes, significantly. Maybe even, I can say, 70
Very,
times higher,
yes.
yeah.
And that, I think, means that these banking institutions that you're talking about have to be, I would think, planning some form of extended mortgage that is not even standard on the market right now.
Yes.
Because the size of clients that you have is big.
Yes.
And they are faithful clients, which is what the bank wants. They are steady.
Yeah.
And to have them over that period of life, that relationship is very strong. The bank can make a lot from them over those years.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So that's actually what we're looking. Now we need the funding. So we're at a point of seeing how are we going to do the funding? How are we going to make sure that people's dreams of homes are met, yet they have this specific salary, yet they earn this much. So that's the product that we're coming up. Yeah.
When you see these 2,500 people that you have helped to become landlords over this period, do you feel, compared to the size of your group, the Facebook group, do you feel it is a small number, a big number, unbelievable? I'll give you my own sentiments, but I don't want to...
We are at 4,050 members. 400,050 members
on the Facebook group.
On the Facebook group, the platform. So I don't think we have even touched not even 1% of the people. And because we're not even at 1%, I don't think even the message has been...
People don't know.
People don't know. We have new people all the time. You talk about the land saving scheme and someone says, when did it start? I'm like, I've been doing this for 6 years. We advertise. So we advertise it on our page. So I feel like we have not even scratched on even 1%, not even 0.5% on what the group could be or the impact we could have, mainly in Uganda. Of the 450 members, not everyone is in Uganda, obviously. So I'm going to say, if we're to look at people who are in Uganda, we are still at 370 members are in Uganda. If 370 members are in Uganda and you're looking at 2,500, that means the message has not been heard. Also, to say that not everyone on the group is looking for land.
True.
So we are trying to see that we have different products for different people. Our architecture department, our engineers, and we try just also to mention My Farm Home, our company, is not just about the land saving scheme. We bring together all experts in the construction industry, starting from the real estate people who are selling land, to the plumbers, to the architects, engineers, surveyors, and what. So we bring together these people to get jobs, to get clients, but also to share their ideas. We used to do an event called Fabulous Homes Festival, where we celebrate everything concerning homes. People get advice and what. Now this job of the land saving scheme took most of my time. So at some point I put that event off, but every year people keep telling me, when are you bringing it back? When are you bringing it back? Because it brought the community together for people to interact. We are transitioning from just being a platform on Facebook to being actually bigger. It's not just Facebook. Once Facebook
These are your future plans.
Yeah, those are plans that are already
underway.
That are. I think our web app should be up and running. We've been working on it for some time, but our website has most of these features. On the platform, before, we call them experts in the construction industry. So at that time, we put out a list for people who are interested in being our group experts. Basically, when someone is an engineer and an engineer question or a question that comes up that requires an engineer, this person will speak with authority. And that's the advice we pin up. So we put out a poll for people who are interested, and people who are interested showed interest. We wrote them down. We called them. Those are engineers, architects, plumbers, electricians, down to the person who is a tailor. Actually, so we have a list of all those people. So if someone is asking for recommendation, right now, Fabulous Beautiful Homes, we offer those services as a company. But if you are asking on the platform, it doesn't automatically mean that we're going to forward ourselves there. We also want to be recommended by others. So we have those people, we forward their names to the people when people reach out, or they ask us, do you know this engineer? Do you trust him? So the engineers that we recommend are people we have worked with, we have collaborated with them on some projects, or the engineers, architects, like people we can vet for. These are people who are not paying us to recommend them to the members. No, these are people we have seen the work they are doing
On merit.
Yeah, on merit, and their integrity is important. And because if we recommend someone as Fabulous Beautiful Homes and then the person is quack, it also comes back to us. So these are people we carefully scrutinize, and so they are people of integrity. And that's very important in this industry.
Let me ask you a question. Since you're trailing the blaze, trailblazing for, male-dominated industries, and now you're coming in, right? Let me ask a question and see if you can break into this also as well. So you mentioned that you bought plots for people, you've given them almost 3,000 people. The next phase is the construction. Okay. Now, in the construction industry, we have the hardware services. The hardware services do the same thing like you're doing, but for hardware, for people who are building over this 3-5-year period, right? You go, you open an account with them, you save your money, and then you can start building. Have you thought of opening up a hardware store, My Fabulous Hardware Store?
Yes. We have thought of doing an online hardware store. Those are projects that we're working on that I was telling you that are going to come out.
Oh, so the ones you didn't want to share.
Yes. Yeah, but because we are now going into construction, but also I wanted to stress on now we're going into construction, the building scheme, on each of our estates, especially the ones where people have started. I'm so happy. There are estates where you go to and people have started to build, however small the houses are, 3-bedroom. There's a person who built 2 rooms. That person inspired me. 2 rooms. And I was so happy. And the house is so cute. I posted, but it's the resilience that you see that people are showing. So anyway, we are in each estate we have a plot, a prime plot, what we call commercial plots. That's as administration, that in each estate we are supposed to have property to manage. Now we're going to be building physical hardwares there. So we've already started the construction of those. When materials, how our project is going to be, when we collect money, we're going to buy like cement in bulk from, let me say, Toro Cement or what. We are partnering with different companies. So if we buy cement, we put them on our hardwares. Now the members in the scheme, in that particular scheme, they will pick from the hardware and to their sites. The hardware is at the estate. So each estate is going to be having
their own local hardware there.
Yes.
Which is oversight from you.
Yes. So if you saved for 50 bags of cement, your 50 bags of cement will be in the hardware. If you need to pick 3, that your engineers need to use 3 for the day, you sign up for the 3 bags. That will also be one of the challenges that people face is people steal material, building materials. So once we are able to control how much your engineer or builders are taking from you, maybe you'll save somehow there. So there are so many, it's still a developing thing on how we're going to do it, but I believe we're breaking into that. Also to emphasize, we're still doing construction. We've been doing construction for people but on individual basis. We have clients who were first approached, I think 3 years ago, with someone abroad, like, you helped us buy land, I feel like we can trust you to build. So we built for her mom a 4-bedroom house. It's from there that we transitioned. We have done, I think, 3-storied houses. We have done lodges.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but that is on individual basis. Yeah.
So you have a construction wing. Or
Yes, we have a
department, I would say.
Yes.
Then you have the one for the hardware as well. Then you have the land acquisition as well. I saw you also did some interior design. Or
Yes,
something.
I was going to say
This is your passion, eh?
That is mine. That is mine. But just to emphasize, I love a good interior. Like, it speaks to me. For me, I see in Uganda what we lack. That's why I was appreciating this place. Attention to detail. I love, people can have money. There are people who have money, but to put together a home and it feels homely, where a home is supposed to be a place to rejuvenate you, to relax after a day's work. Someone can have money, but their home doesn't speak that. So it is important to have right interiors, how your home speaks, how you relax. My home is not big. It speaks exactly what I want it to speak. It's not big, it's not luxurious, it's not what, but when I go back home, I know I am unwinding. When I go to my bedroom, I feel relaxed. And that's important to people. So we have people who have contacted, now not the company, before that wing came up. Now we have the interior design wing. But I would help people. Now that one, I wasn't even charging for it.
Wow.
Yeah, like someone can be building and come and, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? I want to paint this. What kind of furniture? I would gladly give that information to people. Now, we collaborated with an amazing interior designer, as I told you. It's from the experts that actually I've gotten my team that I work with. Yeah. So we have the interior design wing of the company. Yeah, we have an amazing interior designer that we work, a profession, not someone can call me one, but I am not. I didn't study that. I can have passion for it, but we have Elysian Interiors. That portion of the company is called Elysian Interiors. I partnered with Irene Kajuvi, and that's what we do.
That's in the name, repeatedly.
Yes.
So, would you, because when I look back at your past and how you started here, I'm trying to put a base, a strong base. From what you're describing, you're truly a business person, like a businesswoman. The thoughts, I provoked you with a question in the future, it turns out you're already working on it. So it tells me that you're thinking that business mind. I like that. And then your passion on helping, you helped, you didn't even charge. You go on the ground and see what people have done and it moves you, right? There is that emotional aspect of a humanity aspect, I would say, that stands out very strongly as well. And then there is also, the beginning, looking at comments and reviews and saying there's an opportunity here. Would you call yourself a businesswoman or just a person who enjoys what you're doing, or a person who was trying to build a house and didn't know that this was going to be my calling? What do you think of yourself as?
For a long time, I was struggling to see. I'm a businesswoman at heart. My parents are big on business. Like my dad, growing up, I think I started my first business at 10 years, P5, yeah. So I knew that was.
What were you doing at 5 years?
5 years, I was selling Christmas cards. Yes, on Kampala Road, I would call Baluni, Christmas cards, what was like those, like our father would give us capital, take us to Kampala Road, where there's Boulevard now.
Yes.
Yes, I was among those children. Like like every Christmas holiday that was.
And you would make sales. People would buy, of course they would buy.
You would sell Christmas cards and balloons, and at that time he would tell you, okay, give me my capital. At the end of the day, you give back the money he had given you.
And you keep your profits.
Yes,
wow.
And you keep your profits. So it would motivate you all through high school. I remember when these pay calls came, our dad bought us the pay call, and we have shops, and I was like, now I've given you airtime, and then there was
Capital airtime.
Capital airtime. Now see that you make your money. And at the end of the day, you had to give him back his capital. So we grew up like that. Our parents they were business people, so they encouraged us to, I don't know, all of us are into business in some way or another. But I feel like we were brought up, profit was important.
Profit was important. The plot buyer hearing this might be scared that the next one might be very expensive.
Yes, at the end of the day, when we started the business, in the beginning I wasn't making money. Phase 1, phase 2, I didn't make money.
I think this is typical though for businesses.
Yeah.
You have to capital inject before.
Yeah, but I didn't even know. Like, it was more of a service. I was just happy to help.
That's why I was confused. I didn't know whether you're a business person or just helping a good heart.
That was the first. But then now we have transitioned to see that we actually make money out of it. Yeah. So it's important that even when we're making some money, but we still give value. At the end of the day, you leave everything else you're doing to concentrate this. You're paying surveyors. Before we buy a piece of land, let me tell you, on average, we survey like 20 pieces of land a week.
Wow.
Now, if I'm to take a surveyor and they're not on retainer, let's say averagely it's 400,000.
It's expensive.
It's expensive. So I have to, in the beginning, we had to incur those expenses. Then you have rent, then you have what?
And the buyers, the people in your group in the front, they don't want to hear this.
No,
they don't care, really.
Yes.
They just want to know, we have this, we are going to see on this day, it is surveyed,
Yes.
let's go and choose plots.
It's surveyed and you've seen it is good. And then you have timelines, because it runs for 1 year.
Of course.
You have to make sure by the end of the saving period, you have at least 3 areas to show them. So you have to keep timelines.
When you look back at these years, at this time, was there a moment when you felt like, or maybe spoke to yourself and said, I think I have something here, or I think there is something in this, that realization? Or maybe, you looked at the people that you've helped get all these properties and you're feeling the impact you're having on these people. When did it come? How did it come?
I think it was, I'll mention like 3, I think I mentioned it like 3 instances, but year 3, we're giving away land. Now, that we usually give land titles at the end when we're already transferred and everything. So we took the titles on site. So we're giving people their titles, showing them their land and there's one lady, even as I'm talking, like, I think that her replay is coming. She held her title and cried. And she's like, you don't understand, Imi, you don't understand. Like, at that point, I realized, okay, it's not just land.
Of course.
It's not land, you're impacting lives. You're like, you don't understand. I never thought I would own a piece of land. We have a video of it. But that lady, she's a young girl. I think she was around, I don't know, I don't even want to give her age. But she was young, but she was wailing, like tears were just like, you don't understand. This is not just a title. This is everything. I never knew I would own this. That is, I think, for me, the thing that impacted most in my life about what I'm doing. When I think of that young girl, it makes me push more. Dealing with people is not easy in each scheme and what. Of course, there are people who are doubters and what. But it motivates me knowing that in each phase there is someone like that where you're helping people for the land for the first time. Even yesterday, we had land acquisition. We are getting land and their titles now. We make it a point to give you your land and your title. There's this couple. The man came, brought their children. The wife said, we are from Gulu. This is our first property in our names with the title. This is my wife. He paraded the wife. These are my children. And he was telling me that he told me that he saw a documentary about Los Angeles in 1500s. It's like, it's exactly the way it is, our land is. But I see a future, I see us building a home. So he began to describe the kind of home he envisions what that land is going to be. And when you're looking at the land, there were shrubs. It was a bush, but he was seeing and prophesying, I call it prophesying, what he wants to see for his land. So it is those moments when you actually will see that you're impacting people. He said, me, I'm going away. Actually, he was saying, me, I'm going to die. And these people are going to take over. He was talking to the daughter, I think was like around 4, the son 3 there. So like these children, they have to take over. So knowing that this family, young family, I think maybe he's 32. He's even thinking, he's buying this piece of land, but he's thinking about his children. That to me is the most impact I can say has impacted me, knowing that I'm touching people's lives. Yeah. Of course, there have been some other events. I don't think they hold so much to me, what I would say, like that much. Like one time I went to Ministry of Lands, but I was going to ask them to partner with us and for the event I was running. I reached there, so I was waiting to see these people. These are architects, these are the departmental heads and what, and they were going for me, and they saw me, they're like, Immaculate Nantongo, you're the one. Oh my God, we need you. Now, I had come for a different thing to ask for sponsorship and what, they'd be a part. They're like, no, we need you in our meetings. We're holding a meeting about what? Planning. I was at the head office. They put me in the car. You have to attend this meeting. They take me up to their offices on Bugolobi. You have to tell us, how do you see this? It was a humbling as well, like, huh? Me? And by that time, we were not even the impact we have done now. But I reached, people were standing up to greet me. Wow. I'm like, I didn't even know you knew about us. Yeah, so like, no, we follow you, we follow your group. But that for me doesn't mean a lot. It does, but that's like, okay, people are watching. Yeah. It
is that person who is on the ground, in the shrub or in the bush, who is showing the 4-year-old child what the future could potentially look like, what it takes, and what the father has gone through in teaching their child. That is the moment that actually holds the most water.
Yeah, for me, that is. It makes everything worth it. Like, the times when people don't believe in you, the times when you say like, do I have to do this? Maybe I've done my part. Maybe I can comfortably live my life. I have stuff that I can take care of my children and what. But then you see, okay, the vision is bigger than just you. It's not about you. Actually, it's not about you anymore. It's about that person.
Do you get to places where the fact that you're a lady, they despise you, undermine you, look down on you?
Oh, yes. That happened a lot more. Like my juniors can be more respected than me, or my employees who are men. But I use that to my advantage. I am not a limelight person. So I don't want to go and say I'm the boss. No. We shall go and they negotiate and maybe someone dismisses you. And I'm like, cool. So for me, I'm okay with, as long as I'm getting the work done. I will actually go with my surveyor who is a man, and I also know your boss one.
You're gonna know you.
You're gonna know you send it and what. And then you come to the office and it's the person actually is going to sign your money. So I use that to my advantage. I don't allow being a woman stop me. In fact, if I see you're disrespecting me and you're going to pay attention to the man, I'll front the men in my life to close that deal. If that deal needs to be closed by a man, if you're going to give a better rate to a man, why not?
So you're not letting your ego get into the way?
No, because at the end, I'm a business person. If I let my ego get in the way, that means I'll lose.
Of course.
Yeah. So I use that to my advantage. I like, no. I will never pass on a good deal because of my ego. No. I can't allow. My dad will not let me sleep.
You will not hear of it. It's like I wasted time on the streets of Kampala all these years ago.
Yeah, no. I can't.
What keeps you grounded? Those who have come before you kind of lost their way. You have mentioned, the strategies that you have in place, operation strategies, growth strategies, implementation strategies, that's all fine. But your head space, how do you protect your head space to keep you aligned?
First of all, I'm a Christian. I want to say I'm a Christian in the marketplace. What that means is I'm firstly a Christian who operates in a business world. And this is my mandate. Like, it's something God, when I was opening, I told you, God instructed me to do the whatever. But also, what I did not mention, 2018, December, I started to feel like I need to do the land saving scheme. But it was an instruction from God. 27th or 28th December, just after Christmas. So it was an instruction, start this. And I know my end. Before I began it, there was an instruction clearly of what I'm supposed to do. Why the scheme? I wanted to pick God's mind on this. So I have a mandate. God loves order for his children. He loves children. When God talks about rest, sorry, I'm taking you this direction.
It's okay, you can.
But when God talks about rest, when God rested, rest is important part of a human body to rejuvenate. That's why we sleep. If you're staying in a bad place, bad community, you're not going to rest. You're going to go in a place where there's a bar, time for resting, the bar is going to be making a lot of noise for you, or a church for that matter, making a lot of noise for you, because it's not organized living. God is not a God of disorder. So you won't rest. When you won't rest, you won't perform at work. And your home is supposed to be your sanctuary where you rejuvenate, you relax, you raise godly children and everything. If children are not resting at home because the house is dirty, or because the house, I like this interior like it's well planned, it's open plan. I can be watching, mama can be cooking, the kids are doing homework or watching TV, interaction. So all these things are details that God is concerned with to bring up a respectable daughter or son in society. But it begins with our home. It begins from your environment, the people you're associating with, the environment. Is it clean? Are roads good enough? Are the houses constructed where children can play? Do they have greenery and all those things? So for me, the organized living was mainly for the wealthy. And most of the people you go to, and like, if I stay here, I will feel relaxed. Because that feeling you would get is because of everything has been organized, have been well thought of. And that is what we are trying to translate for the everyday man. So for me, it is a mandate. That is my contribution to the world, to Uganda, to the everyday Ugandan. So that keeps me grounded. The fact that I have God entrusted me with this plan to help these people. My faith grounds me. In nutshell, my faith in God grounds me.
You've had moments where you were tested and you had to pull on this faith to bring you back in line. Can you share?
Yes, so many times. I remember I told you, first phase and second phase, those were the challenges. Now, the challenges that I faced then would have broken me. But it all got back to why am I doing this? Because if it was for the profit at that time, I was not even breaking even. But why am I doing this? So every challenge I face, even now, I say, why am I doing this? It's my assignment. So it's holding on to what God told me before I began. And every time something comes up, I'm like, but God is faithful. He'll make me go through this situation. So my faith has helped me with all the challenges that I face in this industry. You asked me about my longevity in the business. I believe that is what will sustain me because of where I am with my father.
If I compare the work that you're doing and others in the industry, especially bigger companies which have been there before you, you typically see on your own forum, you typically see complaints about buying air, so to speak, no titles, or the titles have spent years without coming, or something along those lines, right? And so far what you've described is all good. I've not had anything or even a hint of any negativity with the people that you've dealt with. But do you have situations like that where clients have come to you complaining, or have you seen it in the chat somewhere talking about your paperwork or your service or something?
We have never been in a situation where someone says, like air. No. But we have had, as I mentioned, the first two years, there were some challenges, and those are the challenges I described to you. So because of those challenges of that gentleman that I told you, the titling took a bit of time, a process. So from phase 1, phase 2, we had the challenge we had is from that one gentleman we bought land. And I think God wanted to teach us all our experience
in one time.
But we had just begun. So we were able that once we realized, okay, that's why I told you we changed our strategy. So the challenges we got were in that phase for delayed titles, and then trying to acquire land, and then there were the challenges I mentioned. So it was in those two. From 3, 4, 5, 6, where we're at, we have not had those challenges. Other challenges can come in, but not that kind. We have never, even when you see someone, also the challenge, you asked me a challenge that we face with our clients. Earlier I described a challenge I faced with a person who sold to us. Expectations where you maybe you don't meet someone's expectations. We had a gentleman, when people say, I want this place, you vote. There are places which are far and someone votes for them. You understand? I'll give you an example, Katosi. Where we had an estate in Katosi. And before I was buying that land, I went there, it has a lake view, and people were like, yes, we want that land, da, 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 da. So I sure, but people were voting and they want the land, da, da, da. We got the land, we bought an extension, we kept on buying because it has a very beautiful view. So the day we go to visit the land, it had rained. Actually, the whole of Mukono, that time. It so happens that usually when we do a site visits, it's usually in that period, rainy season. So when we went to visit the land, the cars, we left them somewhere, like maybe 1 kilometer away, because when we transport people, we take them in buses. So the buses were like, let's stop here. So people had to walk 1 kilometer to the land. So when now, our roads in Uganda.
So if the bus cannot reach there, it tells you.
Yes, and first of all, the roads are narrow, but also buses are not 4-wheel drives, coasters, so our roads are small. So to go to the estate, people had to walk. And when we came back, I remember that gentleman, he pushed us to buy. He was on the forefront of us buying Katosi. When we came back, he was like, no, they duped us. They duped us. This land is far. When you say you want land in Katosi, we bought land in, like, he didn't know, I don't know where Katosi was or something like that. So so there was that. He went online. He went online and tarnished our name and did what. But what I liked most about it, even in that storm, because I would call it a storm, we offered to give him a full refund. And he didn't want to take the refund.
Because the value is much greater than this noise that he's making.
But he made the noise, he made allegations, and I told him, Mr.
So-and-so.
If you're not satisfied, the charts clearly indicate that you wanted Katosi. You mentioned when you came to office, you actually signed up for Katosi. Why are you saying that all these things? So I love the fact that even in that storm, I did not say anything, but we got clients of that, whatever. In fact, people were thinking that I was using it as a tactic.
Marketing.
Yeah,
yes.
But the comments were many. I remember in 30 minutes on that group, it was like 1.7 comments. So there are so many people want to see you fail. Then there are people who are inquisitive. Who are these? And then there are people who are coming in to defend you. Like, actually, who were there, it had rained. Most of the roads, even in Kampala here, we have very bad roads. Where some places are impassable or flood. Does that make the place? And our
it floods in the city center.
Yes, and our land itself had no issues. It's just the access road, like it was very slippery and the cars would not go. So we're like, we have not given you a swamp, we have not given you land like this. Our land is actually on a hill. It's on a hill like this. So that was a challenge that we had with clients. And of course, there are, in a group of 2,500 people, you cannot please all of them. And then there are people who want a particular place and maybe it gets done before they get, and then they take it an issue. But I would say 99.9% are satisfied clients. That's why we keep growing. So that storm taught us. Our challenges were in those first two.
So for the third session, I think we'll call it maybe a session, a cohort. So third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, where we are right now, no one can come and say, I bought air from Fabulous or this issue.
Even in previous schemes, no one can say they bought air. What a person can say in the first two, our land
it took a long time to get the
titles, because they can talk about that.
But it is still less than these 5 years, 6 years we hear from these other companies. People buy land, build houses 10 years down the road. I have someone that I know bought a place in Sasa, right? And for me, when I went there and saw the place, they wanted my feedback, guidance, whatever. I told them I wouldn't buy this place. But they went ahead and bought. Up till today, this is almost 10 years. They don't have a title to the land. I think even the company closed, or I don't know what happened, but they don't have a title to the place. They built their house. They have several empty spots because people don't want to risk their money without titles. And the estate is there. It's just, it's like deserted or something, right? So to hear that, you have the titles and you're sharing them with people and they receive them, and I've seen the videos a lot. I think it's good, it boosts confidence, and it's very self-explanatory in the growth that you're describing. Very, very commendable.
Amen. Even in those first ones, I must mention, even the 90.8 got all their titles at that time. So it was just a portion of, if we had 4 estates and one took long to get a title, so still it doesn't discredit all the others that go. So issues just came from one person. And I thank God that they came from one person.
Of course.
And we learned And we learned from those mistakes that were made, and we have been able to grow so that we don't have those challenges in this other scheme.
When you're looking for land in these uncharted waters, what pitfalls? Well, if you look back and see, and look at your continuum of things that shocked you or wowed you, do you have anything that stands out for you? Maybe something that you survived, a trap or something?
Okay. With this kind of business, also because we operate on social media and that means you're visible to even scammers. Yeah, you're visible to scammers. So there have been many traps. That's why every time you have to strategize on how you're going to avoid the traps, because things keep evolving. Now, thugs are no longer dressed, thugs are dressed in suits. Thugs are dressed 60, 70-year-old men and women. So just the fact that we are, as Africans, we are raised to respect older people, I think it's easy for them to lure us into, because they are old, you don't think they're scammers. Yeah. So at one point, like several times, we have had people who have tried to scam us. But because as a company, we have a checklist before we buy a piece of land. And trust me, we're not going to buy that land without that checklist being, I personally go through all that checklist. But even to come up with that checklist and everything, it's because of the experiences that we had with those people that I was telling you. So one time, we're buying a piece of land, they take us to Mukono area, and we go to survey. We don't buy a piece of land minus opening boundaries. And I tell people, if the land is titled, make sure you do surveying. You bring a surveyor. That's an extra cost because you have not yet affirmed that you're going to buy the land, but it's an extra cost. You would rather lose 1 million than lose maybe 300 million or what. So this was, I think, our first cohort. So we were running a very tight budget, but surveyors are important. So we took a surveyor, we went to the land, we did due diligence. There's a broker we're working with. He took us to a piece of land, introduced us to the chairman, brought us to the chairman. We went to do due diligence of the neighbors. Now, I have a team that we got to when we were doing this, or like around 7. So we divide ourselves. The surveyors who go with the surveyors to verify. So it was a big piece of land, around 25 acres. Very nice. It's on the hill. It's overlooking. So me, I stare around. We see the neighbors. The neighbors confirm, yes. They are selling. In fact, I'm a broke on that piece of land. I'm a broke on that piece of land. We're like, okay. Then we survey. As we were surveying, it was a hill. We survey. The owner didn't come. He said, "I'm sending you my son. He's not going to take you through the land." So we go. At some point up there, we're surveying. We saw we were the only ones remaining, us and our team, and it was odd. The son was no longer there. The chairman, LC1 chairman, LC2 chairman. We survey and we finish. So the guy is like, "You give me now. Let's go to office and we finalize. Now you've surveyed what?" I said, "We are going to first wait for the survey." Actually, once we insisted, the son disappeared, the so-called son. So another person was taking us around. They had the map, the print. We finished. We later realized the land they had showed us. Actually, I think we had not completed, but something was just off. And I told the surveyor, we need to leave this place. How are we surveying 25 acres and the owner of the land is nowhere to be seen? Brokers are now, the LC chairman has gone. The LC2 chairman is also, we are almost
What
are the
authority
ones.
do you have?
Yeah,
to
what
be
authority
there?
do we have to be here? So we go. Like, I've picked enough points and we go. So as we are going, he goes, we go back. The people disappeared from us. We go to office, cool. Apparently, the land was falling in another area. The print that we're using, it was in a different, like 5 kilometers, but they were showing us this. So if we hadn't taken the surveyor,
Of course.
they would have said, Chapa Wechiri, they have given us the title, then that means this is where the land is. But the boundary opening put the plot in a different location. So bali bafere.
Of course.
Lo and behold, that same guy calls us.
The father.
He calls us again and he's like, nilitaka baliguze, but I have another piece of land. I found another piece of land, much nearer. What? We go on a farm. Like,
You didn't discount him.
no, I didn't. Well, like, he said baliguze, so that's just like, okay, let's go again. Yeah, I went with the surveyor. We go with our surveyors. Still, we did boundary opening. Same scenarios that were there. Only that this time I personally walked like 1 kilometer away from the land. I met someone I know. That time they told us that land was 45. They told us it was 25 million. I meet someone and they said that land is at 65 million per acre.
Not the whole chunk.
Yes, per
And
acre.
for them
They had told us actually 35 million per acre. For 1 acre. We meet someone who says that land is at 65 million per acre. So here they are telling you that guy is telling us at a lower price.
Almost half.
Almost half. So that they lure you in. And to make further discovery, the caretaker of the area was in on the whole plot. So when we came, I just saw the surveyor get in the car and everyone, and we drove off. Never to be heard from again. Until police was at my doorstep. Police was at my doorstep. At my office. And like we are seeing interactions between this call and your number and this other person. He's wanted for stealing land and what. Like, he also tried to steal from us, but we're just smart. But we do that because we want to avoid to being scammed. Yeah. All people who are pretending they have diabetes, they can't do. Someone is training this. So you have to be very, very careful. Insist on going to land office to make sure that you verify every information.
Do you have any mentors that have brought you? I know you mentioned your father and how you were on that other road. That blew my mind. But can you call on some mentors or him and any others that have made you who you are?
Yeah, my dad is my number one. He has been there for me. He has taught me. My dad is a businessman, like even to run. When I was thinking about the building scheme, how I'm going to run it, he walked me through how I'm supposed to do it. And it just clicked that yes, that is how it's supposed to be. But then also my spiritual father, Apostle Grace Omega, he is not only feeds my spirit, but he encourages me. My third mentor is Mr. Bashir Tisito of Uganda Land Board. BLB has been there for us as a company that's helped us grow, also giving us platforms. So seeing like partnerships have developed between us and that part of Uganda Land Board. And also other institutions I have people I ask for advice from the different banks we work with, who are financial advisors now to really also helping us to grow as a business.
How do you manage your business and your family, your work-life balance? How do you do this?
Okay, for most part, I'm a very present parent in my children's life. I think for me that's the most important in my life. And the most important. I second most important after God, but I make sure that all the important things that I need to do for my children, I do it for them. I am present in their lives. So it helps me even in the busiest schedules that I know I have to do this for my child, for my son, I have to do this and that. Yeah, so that is how I prioritizing what is important for the children. And also seasons come and go. The children are young once, so at that time you give them more time. Now my children are growing, they don't need me a lot. So it's a daily thing where you have to see what is important. I like a book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I read it years ago, but it changed my life in how I view things. And so I look at what is the most important for my day and I execute most important and urgent, and so there that I work around my schedules.
I would like to really thank you for coming on the show. I was seeing you. I was seeing the work you're doing from the background, right? I'm a member of your group, just so you know. Yes.
Okay.
And I've been watching you over the years and all the work that you're doing. I've seen all the comments. I've never really seen any negative comments like you see from other real estate companies. So I'm happy for you for that. Keep doing what you're doing. We wish you a lot of success, continued growth, and I wanted to thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Heavenly Father, Lord, we want to thank you for phase 5. We want to thank you that this is the day that you've made, and we shall be glad and rejoice in it. We want to thank you for everyone who has saved. We want to thank you for those who have completed. We want to thank you for those who have not completed. We want to thank you for the team that works tirelessly to look for land. And we want to thank you for the provisions you've given us. Your word tells us that every piece of land, every area we tread on, that you will give us the possession. We want to thank you for this day. That Father, we are not taking possession, but we are seeing our land. And through this site visit, people's visions are being elevated, they are being opened up. We pray, King of Glory, for everyone here today, that even though they may not take this estate, that the other estates fulfill their desires for what they are buying this land for. We thank you for that provision, and we pray that you provide for each and every one finances to complete the process, but also to do bigger than this. To the glory of your name. In Jesus' name we have prayed. Amen.